Hi everybody, welcome back to Regarding. We're going to continue with part two of our last recording with my friend Leigh. We are discussing relationships and dealing with relationships and breakups. I hope you enjoy. Check it out.
Let's go to decision making. So specifically on decision making and choosing partners, would you say that your negative image of yourself,
Yes.
I definitely, for me, I mean, in early dating life, I wouldn't even try because the once or twice that I tried in the beginning, I was literally ridiculed and laughed at. So I got this picture of I'm not worthy of love. And I carried that straight through all the way until early recovery, which is the first time that I started embracing. And even then, that went sideways really quickly. But that was because of poor choices and choosing people that you look. This is for me. Choosing people that I think is damaged enough for me to be worthy of them. That's the ultimate thing that I did. So I could never.
I think the damaged people are the best ones. Maybe I'm saying that because we are them, but don't really have a lot in common with people who like, and I can't connect to them in any way if they aren't a bit fucked up in some way, and dealing with it.
Dealing with it. That's kind of the precursor, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where I now make my connection.
So initially dating, only the wildest boys were the best. The drag, the bad boys, because that's how. I mean, that's basic Psych 101. It's the Oedipus complex. That's my dad. That's what was recreating my dad. So when it came time to choose someone to get married, I specifically did not. I had a checklist, and I made it not dad. So and like that was it. These were my specifications, like no violence, no addiction. How hilarious. I didn't know at that point that I was an addict. There was I didn't put things on like loving, kind. I didn't put those things on that list either. I just put on not going to fuck me up and my kids physically.
Basically, the things to get a safe environment, and not the things to get loved.
Yes, I chose safety and what I saw as stability. That's what I chose. But 10 years in, when a trauma hits, the stability actually is just a flat line. It's just death. That sounds terrible, but there were no ups and downs. Well, I had ups and downs, but he didn't. He was just this even kill, which is actually a complete disconnection emotionally. And so, when the trauma hits and it hits the relationship, there wasn't even a friendship that we had, and he was scared of me. That's one of the things that I'm like.
He was scared.
He was afraid of me because I had this. He called me the Hulk. Because I would rage. I would go into rage easily. I didn't even know myself well enough yet then, and it wasn't so that long ago that if I was hungry, game over. Other people knew it about me, but I didn't have that self-awareness. So, like, if I felt like that rage welling up, now I have a checklist. I can go, am I hungry? Yeah, I'm starving. I'm going to kill someone if I don't, So
but now you know what's coming if you don't eat.
Yeah, and I didn't then, and I carry a lot of guilt about like the things that were said and done just because I was hungry. But and
we didn't have the tools.
He did steer me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and when you know better, you do better. But I didn't know, and him being afraid of me made me feel like I was my dad. And so that's where, so that decision making of making sure that he wasn't like my dad, I became my dad, which was horrifying to me. And I hated myself. I still, we're 10 years down the line of not being married, and until the program, I still struggled to like who I was around him, because he seemed so normal, and I seemed, and I believed that I was completely unreasonable and unplayable, 100%. But I didn't know why, and I didn't know how to do it differently. And we were just we are so radically different. And even now, we're so radically different. He still doesn't engage in emotion, and I'm all about emotion. But I think I really chose a good ex-husband to co-parent with, and he's a great dad. He does his very, very best, and we have worked very hard to get to this point where it's all about the kids. It's got nothing to do with us, and it's amicable, and the children don't know about fighting
which
parents.
Is everything that your children need, which is good.
So yes, so they have, other people call it a broken home. They don't. They have two households where they're happy in both. And I know, like, if I even now, me in recovery, if I picture myself in a relationship with him, I would be the bad cop. I'd be the boy, because there has to be discipline, because I believe in love and boundaries. Because that's where you're safe, if you have a boundary. And there was never a boundary with him. He doesn't have any boundaries, and neither did I. So I could push and push and push, and he would just literally retreat even on a physical level. Like, I could see the fear, and I hated myself. And that version of myself that I was and can be with him, I hate her. So I like, as hard as it is to be, like, not a regular family, this is better for the children and me, because I can be who I really am, instead of fighting against someone who doesn't get me. And to be fair, I didn't get myself until I got to the program.
Yeah, I was in the UK, and I started taking drugs. I lost a lot of weight, and all of a sudden I was a player. And I've often reflected on it, and I think a lot of that was, in a sense, almost revenge seeking for all the times I was ridiculed and made to feel ashamed of myself in the past by girls that I liked. So I was a bit of a player, and the environment allowed it. And then when I came home, my addiction had formed in such an extreme extent that I think I tried around 2008, 2009, I tried a couple of times to get into a relationship with somebody I liked. But the people I liked, even then, were so damaged that they weren't emotionally available for a relationship. And that was the only reason I saw them as me as good enough for them, strangely enough. Because they needed.
So were you like trying to save them?
Not save them, but they needed to be that level of fucked up for me to be even qualified for being in a relationship with them.
Relatable.
And then even them cheated on me. So I went into a 10-year tailspin of just not putting myself out there at all. And it was just drugs and prostitutes and, and
self-hate.
Living two lives, completely two lives. One life in work and the world, and then another life at night in my mind. And it was literally self-hate, prostitutes, drugs, and nobody knew about it. and I managed that, and that played, obviously with the whole financial issue we can speak of for years, but that's a different matter altogether. And then I become clean, and I meet somebody that's great, that had the same level of damage as me, that was equally fucked up. So we qualified. She worked on it. She worked on it. She was getting clean with me, and we met in the program, and it was great. Until I realized that the only one that was being brutally honest, in as I understand it, was me. And look, I now know, and I'm man enough to admit that a lot of things that was said when I was angry was kind of like she never loved me and blah blah blah. But the fact of the matter is that I chose somebody that was emotionally unavailable. And when she started relapsing and going back to using, that was then I started to try and carry the addict, and I wanted to prove to her that if I can stick with you, we can get back to happiness type deal. And FYI, that doesn't work.
I don't think I would have done anything different, to be honest. If you're saying it like that, you're in love with someone and then they relapse, so of course I would try to save them.
Yes, where the self-worth comes into play. Is I believed at the time, finally I got somebody to act like me. And that is near impossible because of my self-worth. I've got serious self-worth issues. I'm not worthy of love. This is what I believe. Even in early recovery, I haven't at that point been far enough in the program to understand, because it's a 12-step program. I was on step 1 or something. There's a thing they say that you're not supposed to have a relationship for the first year. We actually spoke about it and we went, nah, we're different.
And we laughed and laughed.
But look, my self-worth was fearful of not being able to find anybody else again, because this one that approved of me is, I'm going to lose her, and then I'm never going to find somebody else again.
So what I do know about making decisions from fear,
well,
are always bad decisions. I'm living in one right now. I'm living in a bad decision. Actually, many bad decisions, and all of them came from a place of fear. When I look back, hindsight's an asshole.
I wrote a poem about hindsight 2021.
It's easy to look back and go, you should have known better. But I used those red flags to decorate. This house. Yeah.
So let's discuss this. Let's turn our thing around and tell the viewers some things that we've learned about managing dysfunctional relationships and breakups, because we've just both of us been through a breakup. I was a little bit ahead of you, and
I followed. I copied you.
You copy it.
I emulate you.
I think we're doing pretty well. We are leaning on each other. We're leaning on the program. We're leaning on our friends. And it's for no means over. I'm still processing it. And it's nearly a year later, or almost a year later. Not even, let's say 8 months, something like that. But the fact of the matter is, if I look back now, I should have put down more boundaries. It's the things, let's focus on the things that I think that I didn't do. I didn't do boundaries. I tried to people please because of my self-worth. I needed to prove to her that I'm worthy of her. So I never stood up for what I wanted and what I found to be not allowed or not stood for, and hence the things that by the time we actually broke up, I was so far beyond what I thought a loving relationship would be. And even where we started, we were completely, our behavior, our personalities, everything was completely different from where we started, just because I kept on bending backwards and with her trying, whether she knew it or not, trying to physically get away because of her also not feeling worthy. There's something funny for you. Two people not feeling worthy of each other. That she just kept on pushing the envelope every time a little bit further to try and see, because she had abandonment issues. So she would push me to see, kind of like, I'm going to go anyway. I might as well make it. And I want to make this clear. I today can say that I don't think she did any of this intentionally. She's a sick person, just as I am. But
well, you've come a long way, as you said. Like, I've watched you since, well, I don't remember like the time frame, but I was there in the rooms with you when the stuff went down, and I've watched you go through all the processes of loss, the anger, the denial, the bargaining, all of it. Like, I've watched you doing it, and this, what you're saying now, is a level of acceptance which is amazing. But it doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying you're over her, but like, it's amazing to have watched you go through those emotions, and not once did you ever think of like picking up or backtracking.
a couple of times, but
Did you? Okay, well, not too bad. Okay, was it
there was
like,
times when I thought about it, but I would, because of the fact that I do a meeting every day, and literally,
yeah,
and I have done a meeting every day for 780 something days now. And because of that, every time the thought comes in, I dismiss it as just a thought. My thoughts don't control me anymore. And that's
yeah.
thanks to the program. And that's thanks to my fellows that I can speak to and people that I've got to reach out to. But yeah.
Feelings aren't facts.
Right, that's that for this week. There's one more part to come, which will be a bit longer, and I hope you are getting something out of these talks. Let me know in the comments. Thanks, guys.